The best-selling Volkswagen has a new design, and I'll summarize it for you right now. This new Tiguan looks spectacular. I think you're really going to be impressed by how it looks inside and out. As for how it drives, well, that's going to depend on who you are. But let me first start with how the Tiguan looks, because it is good looking inside and out. Volkswagen is transitioning from that busy look as seen in their older Tiguan and Atlas lines to something that's more ID4 inspired, simpler, less chrome, more streamlined. The one I'm testing is the Tiguan R-Line, and you could tell these apart due to the unique R-Line front and rear bumpers and the side cells and the larger 20-inch wheels. The R-Line bumper visually has a more sporty look, giving the illusion of larger openings and a wider body. The LED headlights are adaptive and they can move as you're turning, and I think they took a page out of Audi's book because their lighting is pretty spectacular for the front and the rear. There's now an LED light bar across the front, and the Volkswagen logo also lights up just like in the new GTI, and you'll probably see this through the rest of the Volkswagen lineup pretty soon. The over fenders on this SEL are gloss black. The other trims are matte black. The R symbol is now on the front door just like the GTI. Maybe this is a Volkswagen thing now, putting badges on the doors. The 20-inch wheels on this one has some machined surfaces, and oh, look at that, there's a nice tick right on the wheel right there. But if you want the black wheels, you have to go with the R-Line Black, which is missing some features on the inside. The R-Line has the special side sills, which gives the car a fuller, bigger look. And as for the paint, this is called Monterey Blue Pearl, and it's a premium charge. And at the rear end, the LED taillights, they stretch across the back, and the Volkswagen logo also lights up. And what I love about the lighting for the SEL is how complex the LED taillights look, because these individual units seem like they're stacked right on top of each other. So it's a nice small attention to detail. It's obviously not cheap, but it definitely looks very good. And as for the rear bumper, this is also the R-Line style, somewhat reminiscent of the Audi RS3. So overall, pretty attractive SUV. I'm curious about your thoughts. Let me know how you feel down below, and let's jump inside where there are more big changes. My first impression when I sat in here was, wow, this looks like a proper 2025 car. Now, whether you like that or not might be a different story. But this interior design is very much of this time. And what do I mean by that? Number one, very wide open presentation. So the center console is more minimalist and more open. They achieved this by moving the gear shifter normally over here over to the steering column. A lot of companies do this, or they made the gear shifter very small, very low profile. Number two, big infotainment screen. This is 15 inches diagonally, and this is running on the MIB4 infotainment system. So lots of things to modify. Obviously, it comes with wireless app connect, so it has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. There's also a 360-degree camera system, and the climate control is always at the bottom of the screen. Now, are these touch-sensitive buttons better than a volume dial? Well, I've actually gotten used to these, so maybe they're not that bad, but if you prefer a volume dial, not all Volkswagens have them, but this Tiguan does, and it's down here. Now, the nice thing about this volume dial is that when you press down on it, it becomes the drive mode dial. So this is like a nice multifunction dial, but the problem is when you see a volume dial, typically when you press down on it, that is the mute function. So the mute function is no longer here in this car, aside from this button over here. So it's somewhat separated by this physical distance, or you could just lower it all the way down just by scrolling all the way to the left. Now, I have encountered another potentially, I don't know if it's a major or minor issue, but considering the volume dial and the proximity of the start-stop engine button, you can accidentally turn off the car when you're pressing down on this dial. And this has happened to me once or twice, but considering where your thumb is placed when you're rotating on this dial, and then when you're pushing down on it, you can actually turn off the engine. Is that a big problem? I don't really know. Just remember that there is that possibility, so just be aware of it. Straight ahead, there's a nice 10.25-inch digital driver display, and up top, there's a heads-up display so you can keep your eyes on the road. So these are pretty common set of features that you'll find in top-trimmed 2025 model year cars. They're going to have the big screen, the digital displays, the heads-up display, the wide open center console, and clever storage ideas like this armrest here, which is no longer fully enclosed. If you open this up, take this tray out, you can actually fit a laptop in here if you want to. I also like the wireless charger design on this thing. It's very simple. It's just a clip, but this can reliably hold your phone as you're driving down the road. And you could tell your phone is charging because it'll say Qi up here. But in general, this Volkswagen Tiguan looks really nice. I love the use of this genuine wood trim in this model. It adds a touch of class to this Tiguan and makes the car more premium feeling. And you can only get this wood trim in this R-Line model. Now, adding to that premium feel are these seats with this quilted pattern on it. There's a nice leather seating surface, and the front seats are heated and ventilated, and they also have a massaging feature. And there is one more storage in here by your left knee. There's just enough space to put a small phone in there or some other keys. Another 2025 model year design feature is some cars have started to integrate a display in front of the passenger, kind of like a nice screen for your co-driver. So in this one, they've sort of implemented that look, but this is not a display. They do have LEDs that shine through though. And then speaking of LEDs, the ambient lighting in this car, there's like 30 colors. So you could sort of customize the look of this car. It does look pretty nice at night. Now moving to the second row, this has 40.2 inches of rear legroom. So lots of space here. And for models with the panoramic sunroof, you can get 38.4 inches of rear headroom. That's a good amount of space. And for the SEL, I like how the outboard seats are heated. And there's also a couple of USB-C ports. Now, as for the cargo space, these new Tiguans lose out on that optional third row, but cargo space is at 26.5 cubic feet of space behind the second row. If you fold the second row down, you can get up to 59 cubic feet of space behind the first row. And look at this, you even get a spare tire in this Tiguan. Now let's talk about how this Volkswagen Tiguan drives. All of these Tiguans are powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And it makes 201 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. And it's attached to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Straight line performance is what you should expect out of the compact crossover segment. It's powerful enough for you and your friends and family, but not very quick. 0 to 60 in the 9-second range. There's also no way to step down the gears in this model. There's no paddle shifters, and since the gear shifter has been moved to the steering column, there are no means on the shifter either to bump down or bump up the gears. And that's a bit disappointing because the transmission shifting seems to be programmed more for comfort than performance. So it can feel a bit sluggish at times. As for ride comfort and handling, the new platform seems very dialed in. This is a pretty comfortable car that offers a good ride. There's not a lot of noise from the road and the wind, and the bumpy roads are handled well. Not to the extent a luxury branded SUV will, but this Tiguan doesn't ride like a cheap car. As for the handling, it's pretty impressive too. The chassis feels tight, and there's a good amount of feedback through the steering wheel. Going through back roads, the new Tiguan feels pretty planted. Overall, I think the driving experience of the new Tiguan is pretty good. I think you'll be impressed. But again, it depends on who you are. If you're looking for a bit more power, I think you're going to be pretty disappointed. But fear not, because for the 2026 model year, Volkswagen is introducing another trim, and that's the SEL Turbo. Now, all of these Tiguans are turbocharged, but the SEL Turbo is going to have more boost. It's got stronger internals, so it's going to make 268 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, these Tiguans with the 4Motion all-wheel drive is going to return about 22 miles in the city, 30 on the highway, and about 25 miles per gallon combined. With the new SEL Turbo, it's probably going to be a little bit worse than that. So if you care about efficiency, definitely go with these SELs. If you want more power, go with the SEL Turbo. And as for the design inside and out, I'm just in love with the new Volkswagen Tiguan. I think they've done a really good job. They did lose out on the optional third row, but these are compact crossovers. If you need the third row, there's a bunch of other vehicles that have them. Now, if you want to see my review of the previous Tiguan, check this link over here. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way up to this point. My name is Hanson, and that has been the 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, and I'll see you in the next one.